My name is Kyle Johnston. I currently attend Bill Carruthers Secondary School in Markham, Ontario, and this is my place in Canadian history. My story begins in Islay, Scotland in 1862. At the time, the War of 1812 had passed, and Canada was looking for immigrants to populate the southern borders to strengthen their defense. In 1969, my great-great-great-grandfather, George McQuaig, and his wife, Laura Ainsley, and their three sons, John, Ian, and Dougal, decided to move to Canada for a new life and to also reunite with family already living there. They docked in Pier 21 in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Pier 21 was a popular docking station for incoming immigrants at the time. They then continued their travel to Timmins, Ontario, where he was reunited with family who had already settled there. My great-great-great-grandfather then decided to open up a blacksmith shop where he manufactured goods made of steel. In 1986, George and his family went through some hardships after his house burned down, but with support from his extended family, they were able to continue on. John, his eldest son, also known as my great-great-grandfather, met his wife Rosanna McQuaig and got married in 1881. They went on to have 10 children: Rhoda, Percy, John, Rory, Bonnie, Nessa, Kirk, William, Kirsty, and Elspeth. My great-grandfather, William, was born in 1893. In 1915, he and his two brothers, John and Rory, enlisted themselves in the army. William joined the 35th Battalion and served 3 years overseas fighting in World War I. On April 8th or 9th, 1918, William was taken prisoner of the Germans. He was repatriated on December 27, 1918. William then returned to Canada and was reunited with his wife Eliza Jane McAllister. He received various medals because of his great contribution to the war. They then later had 3 children: Russell, Elizabeth, and Eliza. My grandfather, Russell, was born in 1923. Throughout his childhood, he went through many events in history. On October 29, 1929, it was a horrible day in history. Nearly $16 million in shares on the New York Stock Exchange and the Dow Jones Industrial fell 12%. This event was considered the spark of the Great Depression throughout the 1930s. Throughout the 1930s, many Canadian families were very poor because of the stock market crash. Although my family experienced horrible hardships throughout their communities, they were never impacted because my great-grandfather William had previously opened up a coal company. Because of the fact that coal was one natural resource that was always being used, he was able to receive a sustainable amount of income to support his family. In 1939, when Canada declared war on Germany, my family refused to go overseas and fight. They decided to remain in Canada and support the war through the home front. My great-aunt Eliza worked in a munition factory in Ajax, while my grandfather Russ and his sister Elizabeth worked on farms to support the war efforts. Once the war ended, my grandfather Russell married my grandmother Reggie Ann Bick in 1968. They had 2 children, my mother Michelle in 1964 and my aunt Melanie in 1966. In 1973, they unfortunately divorced, which very seldom happened back then. My grandmother ended up meeting a man named Ron Bick in 1975. He was born on July 21, 1946. Throughout his life, he himself experienced very interesting events that happened throughout Canadian history. In 1967, he went to see Expo 67. He did not stay very long due to the fact that he was mainly there to meet someone, but he did get somewhat of a glimpse of the event that took place. Expo 67 was a world fair held in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. It was originally supposed to be held in Moscow, Russia, but it ended up being cancelled, which caused it then to be moved to Montreal. It was intended to celebrate Canada's centennial celebrations in 1967 and gave the world an opportunity to see what Canada has to offer. In 1980, my step-grandfather got to see the Marathon of Hope. Because he was situated in Timmins, Ontario, he did not get to see Terry Fox run in person, but he did get to see it live on TV. Terry Fox is a Canadian star who decided to run across Canada on one leg to raise awareness for Money for Cancer. Ron and my grandmother Reggie Ann ended up getting married in 1979 and raised both my mother and aunt for the most part, but with the help from my biological grandfather Russ. My mother, Michelle, then decided to move to Toronto in pursuit of better schooling and job opportunity. While on this embarkment, she happened to meet my father, Raymond Johnston. They ended up getting married in 1988 and decided to reside in Ajax, Ontario in 1997. They had my sister Kayla and myself in 1999. We have continued to write my family's history throughout the years while experiences some major events in Canadian history. For example, when Alexander Bilodeau was the first Canadian to win gold medal on home soil at the 2010 Vancouver Winter Olympics. We will continue to write our family's histories and hope to do so for many generations to come. For example, going to watch Canada play at the 2015 Pan Am Games would be something that I would write myself in my family's Canadian history. I would also like to pursue a career in firefighting and rescue in dedication of my grandfather, Russell. We have come a long way and have persevered through many hard times along with love, happiness, and success. But without these components, there would be no place for me in history. But because of all these great people, I do have my place in Canadian history.